Hello viewers, I'm Shifarao Lako. This is our weekly program, Closeup. In this edition, we entertain two items as we normally do. The items are on economic diplomacy and the African Hydromet Forum. Stay with us. The government of Ethiopia harnesses the country's economic diplomacy through its foreign missions to attract foreign investment. This is meant as part of the overall effort to boost sustainable economic growth in the country. As part of the stride, Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn has issued a new set of directives for ambassadors and diplomats to attach key focus on economic diplomacy. Sadat Mohamed Seni has the following count of the session Ethiopian ambassadors had with the Premier. Take a look.
Countries around the world used to focus on political diplomacy to advance their socio-economic and political interest in the past, because they believed that strong political relations lead to strong relations in other fields, including economic. But empirical evidence suggested that economic relations are not initiated significantly in a political vacuum where there is lack of trust. Today, nations around the globe came to understand that economic relation is more important than the political one to satisfy their national interests. As a result, they have begun focusing on economic diplomacy. Ethiopia is not special in this case. It has to focus on economic diplomacy to advance its economy and improve the livelihood of its citizens in a sustainable manner. The country's foreign policy argues that the external world and globalization are not always ready to open their doors unless the reality of poverty at home is changed as soon as possible. Cognizant of this, the government is seeking to transform the country by attracting foreign direct investment. Recently, Ethiopian diplomatic mission abroad, including ambassadors of regional councils, are convened in Addis Ababa to attend the annual conference organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The annual conference has evaluated the performance of the country's diplomatic mission abroad in the concluded Ethiopian fiscal year. The effort exerted to boost economic diplomacy of the country was at the center of discussion. Addressing the conference, Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn revealed that economic diplomacy, along with regional peace and security issues, is given priority in the international diplomacy spectrum. The conference evaluated that the country has made a successful stride over political diplomacy at the global level. Regarding economic diplomacy, more has yet to be done.
Over the last fiscal year, we've accomplished influential diplomatic tasks in political relations. These can be expressed at bilateral and multilateral levels. Regarding economic diplomacy, the intended progress is not yet achieved. Most effort and commitment should be in place to meet our target.
Hailemariam said diplomats assigned to various countries around the world must work vigorously to attract anchor investors who can contribute to the development of the country.
We deploy diplomats who have advanced experience and execution capacity in the sector. But the progress in the area is not as we intended. You have to dedicate yourself particularly in attracting foreign direct investment.
Capacity building, systematic deployment of diplomats, and institutional reform are the prime focus of the Ministry of Ethiopian Foreign Affairs in this fiscal year. The goal is luring possible investment advantage, among others.
Our diplomatic task force should be deployed in a way it can ensure our national interest. We must synchronize the diplomatic mission we send abroad and their educational and work experience.
The conference asserted the need to work with research institutes to strengthen the country's public diplomacy endeavors to bring together intellectuals, business persons, investors, and the public with Ethiopia's foreign relations.
The era of clinging to diplomats for foreign relation task is diminishing, since the task cannot be done only by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we use every possible mechanism to promote and communicate about our country. These include the involvement of our celebrities, the diaspora community, and other individuals who are interested. The other thing is collaboration with research and higher learning institutions. This is important to make a well-researched diplomatic move.
EBC have talked with some of the ambassadors and members of diplomatic mission, and they have asserted to achieve more.
The Prime Minister has given directives to bring tangible improvements. When we get back to our mission, we will implement a different approach to realize our goal in partnership with various stakeholders, including the diaspora.
የኢኮኖሚ ዲፕሎማሲ ሰላማችንና ልማታችንን ለማረጋገጥ
The economic diplomacy framework is crucial in maintaining the peace and development in the country. Therefore, promoting trade and tourism as well as enabling technology transfer will be our priorities. Beyond, we should maintain our regional integration effort to bring a win-win economic advantage.
My team at England is ready to realize the target we have set to sustain the ongoing development in our country. Particularly, we will focus on attracting selected foreign direct investment.
Our second item is on AMCOMIT Africa Hydromet Forum. The forum was held at the headquarters of the African Union in Addis Ababa to discuss on ways to provide guidance on how existing weather, water and climate information strategies and programs can be strengthened. Countries, regional and international organizations convened to strengthen the capacity of Africa and the globe at large in preventing and reversing disasters caused by climate change. Abraham Asrat has come up with the following report. Let's watch it.
The current climate condition of the world has shown us the devastating effect of climate change in the world, particularly in the United States of America, with the heat of Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma in the state of Texas and Florida, respectively. And when we come to Africa, even though Africa is contributing very little to the effect of climate change, Africa is suffering the most.
Weather irregularities happening in the world is causing huge disorders directly affecting human activities. Taking this into consideration, African countries and international organizations seem more determined to solve problems caused by climate change, particularly in Africa. In this regard, AMCOMIT Africa Hydromet Forum was held at the headquarters of African Union in Addis Ababa to discuss on ways to provide guidance on how existing weather, water, and climate information strategies and programs can be strengthened. The forum highlighted Africa being the continent that contributes very little to climate change has especially been affected the most by climate change.
While people in Africa have contributed the least to human-induced climate change, they're among the most vulnerable to its effects. Every year, thousands of lives and countless millions of dollars are lost due to severe weather. The losses to small farmers and the rural poor are particularly devastating.
Africa is one of the most vulnerable continents when it comes to climate change, and in that context, weather and climate-related disasters. Africa is still recovering from the exceptionally strong El Nino event in 2015-2016 that left somewhat close to 36 million individuals in food poverty and insecurity.
The importance of modernizing hydromet services has also been emphasized during the forum to particularly ensure food security and disaster reduction in Africa.
That there is an urgent need to strengthen, modernize, and harmonize hydromet services across Africa. Indeed, this will go towards maximizing results for cross-cutting development dividends to agriculture and food security, disaster risk reduction, water, energy, health, and the priority pillars of the global framework of climate services.
Furthermore, the forum emphasized the importance of providing accurate, reliable, and timely information to build resilience to climate change in the continent.
If not addressed, as committed by world leaders in Paris, climate change will be a major challenge to efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and reach nationally determined contributions. In no region is this challenge greater than in Africa. Providing accurate, reliable, and timely weather and climate information is central to building resilience to climate change, empowering nations, saving lives, and strengthening economies across Africa's most vulnerable communities.
The forum has also showcased recent scenarios of climate change causing calamities such as that of the US and the Caribbean islands.
You know, in the United States and in the Caribbean, we've just, looked at or just survived two very, very historical hurricanes.
Without going far in historical facts, these recent few days evidently tell us how the weather and the climate have become crazy, and the consequences are devastating beyond imagination. As the Caribbean and US struggle with hurricanes Harvey, Irma, Jose, etc., one after the other, and us here following El Nino and La Niña effects, we are struggling with current extreme rainfall that gave us sleepless nights of last weekend to manage the reservoirs, dikes, and water levels. Unfortunately, lives have been lost by the hurricanes, but worst disasters and losses are also avoided thanks to the weather and the climate information aided by forecasting, backcasting, knowledge and modeling combined with early enough warnings.
The Hydromet Forum also discussed the invaluable role of technology, knowledge, and global partnership and country ownership that is cumulatively employed to prevent disasters caused by climate change.
To me, is that what is so impressive is that, the technology we have today, the knowledge we have today, by which we can forecast these kinds of events with longer lead times, by which we can work with communities, with governments to get people out of harm's way, makes a tremendous difference in the ultimate outcomes.
While political guidance and leadership of the disaster and climate risk management agenda is provided by the African Union Commission, it is true that effective implementation of the extended program of action will require the best of global knowledge solutions and the best of global partnerships and best of global investments under a clear and strong country ownership.
The forum has also highlighted that Ethiopia uses green economy strategy to achieve economic growth.
The Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia is currently implementing its second 5-year Growth and Transformation Plan, or GTP2, as a vehicle towards the realization of the country's vision of becoming a middle-income country by 2025. In its growth trajectory, the country aspires to achieve economic development targets in a resource-efficient manner that overcomes the possible conflict between economic growth and climate change. This has been demonstrated through the climate resilient green economy strategy the government issued in the year 2011 as one of the first national strategy globally.
AMCOMET Africa Hydromet Forum is believed to draw on good practices and lessons from the existing programs to address the challenge in scaling up and sustaining the strengthening of regional and national hydromet services.
Well, dear viewers, that wraps up the program in this edition. Many thanks for joining us. Please do join us next week, same time, with yet another edition of the program. It's goodbye from me, Shifarao Lakau, along with the production technicians from EBC Studio. Bye-bye.